Welcome to the Love and Meaning podcast. I am Christelle Robinson Tiedemann, your host, coming to you from my backyard. I am very excited to be recording outside today. Today's a very special episode where we're checking in now. It has been 2 weeks since I started my rest challenge, my 2-week rest challenge. And today is the conclusion episode, checking in on how that went. And oh my gosh, guys. So I decided to record it in this environment because this has pretty much been a representation of my past 2 weeks. I have spent most of my time out here. So I figured I would record in the same energy that I've actually been in over the past 2 weeks. I will just jump forward to saying right away, there's no freaking going back for me. This is it. Like, wow, so much has changed. So much has come to light. So much has been awakened for me in these past 2 weeks. It is mind blowing. So I'm very excited about this. And it is potentially a bit loud out here. The birds are gorgeous and would like to serenade me. So with this serenade, I hope that you guys can still hear me. I have my trusty mic here and I'm pretty sure it works well. So I apologize if there's any background noise. And I also live near the airport, but we gonna do this. Okay, we gonna do this. If you are listening, maybe you want to pop over to YouTube and watch. That might help a little bit with the vibe. As I got my beautiful background here. Okay, let's get into it. 2-week rest challenge. How the heck did this go? First, I'm going to cover what I did. Okay, so what was my 2-week rest challenge strategy? And I encourage you, before I even tell you what I did, I encourage you to come up with your own. Okay, so I'm going to say the things that I implemented, but rest looks different to different people. So I'm going to share what worked for me, but that doesn't mean that you need to do what I did. So I really highly encourage you to figure out what works best for you. Then I will share with you the results. And lastly, my takeaways from this. Okay, so how did I implement the rest challenge? So these are the things that I implemented, okay? 1, bedtime. And if you see me looking down here, it's because I have my notebook here. I have my notes. 1, bedtime. I made sure that I was getting between 7 and 8 hours of sleep per night or more. Like last night I slept for like, I think 10 hours. But I mean, during the week, on a regular weekday when I have to get up and go to work, I have been going to bed at an earlier time to make sure that I get 7 to 8 hours. Okay. That was implementation number 1. Number 2, I added into my day movement and nature. So movement could be many things. Oftentimes it was a walk. I have a dog, so I have to walk her anyways. But what I find is that I often just like get the walk over with. It's kind of like, all right, Zaylee, do your business. And then we go back inside. You know, it's a rush thing. And instead, I started to think of the walk as for me and for her. And not only does she enjoy it more, but oh my gosh, it has been spectacular for me. I didn't even realize how much I get from nature, like how really like revitalizing it is to my spirit. But I think maybe because half the time on my walks, I wasn't really present, you know, but being present. So it's not even just, okay, you go outside. I'm being present in that space. The other ways that I included it was sitting right here outside in my backyard. I happen to have an absolutely stunning garden. Thank you, universe. I'm so blessed. I have a stunning garden backyard. And so lying out here has been like my like baseline position for the past 2 weeks. Whenever I can, I'm out here. And it is currently 31 degrees Celsius. We are having quite the hot summer. So from this kind of sweltering heat to when it's like nice and breezy, it's been fantastic, fabulous. So exposing myself like to nature, being out in the garden, going for walks with Zaylee, where like I'm also walking. And the other thing that this includes, and the movement was also, I included, like I started doing yin yoga, which is a really feminine energy type of yoga. It's slow yoga where like we spend like an hour just like on the neck, head, the chest. Like it's just one part and you really move into it. I have never been a yoga person, but for some reason lately, I've just, it started calling to me that I need to do this. And it has been amazing. I'm still in the beginning of that. So I think I'll talk about it again when I see like really the results as like I move through the whole program, but I have a feeling this thing is going to change my life. So I started including yin yoga and Pilates. Okay. And it doesn't even have to be for a long period of time. The yoga sessions are about an hour, but the Pilates, sometimes I just do 15 minutes and still just that connection with my body. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And then the other thing that I implemented, so this is more of a taking away rather than an addition, was unplugging myself. So I have a burning desire for knowledge. I love to learn, but in human design, I have an open head center, and that kind of taking in of thought, sometimes I can get a little bit obsessive and have a hard time knowing when enough is enough. And so I can overconsume. And even though it's good content, things like, podcasts and coaching content and classes, courses, that kind of stuff, it's still an overconsumption because what I don't realize is I'm just constantly taking in the energy of other people and other things rather than being in my own energy. Okay. So unplugging myself. So how that combined with these other things that I added, for example, the walks, is I didn't walk with my earbuds in, listening to something. I just walked, me and Zaylee walking, looking at the trees, looking at the flowers, breathing in the air, just being present. Sometimes I would contemplate on these walks, but either way, I wasn't plugged into something external. Okay. And then finally, the last thing that I implemented was quiet. And quiet could look like a number of different things. It included meditation, contemplation, or reading. And that is over audio. So I'm a huge lover of audiobooks because it allows me to do other things at the same time. But I decided that instead of trying to do multiple things at the same time, if I want to read, I'm going to sit and read and just put my full attention on that. So not the audio, the book. And oh my gosh, this has just been the most phenomenal process and experiment to do with myself. And we're going to get into the results in a second. So I'll tell you the details of that, but like, wow. So that quiet, I always meditate every morning. So that's not new. But what I've been doing is I have been calling it now meditation / contemplation time. So that means I listen to myself. I kind of ask myself the question in the morning, what do I need? What am I calling to? What am I being called to? So if it is meditation, I'll do a meditation. If I feel like there's something feels tingly. Sometimes like the best way to describe it is like I feel extra curious in that moment, I feel expanded, like my mind already feels open. I feel like meditation is to open myself up, but sometimes I'm already in that state and I just want to vibe with it. So I will contemplate. And one of the ways that I've been doing that, and I think I'm going to do something with this because it has been so freaking mind blowing. I sometimes just have my own question for myself or something that I've been asking the universe about. And so I'll sit with that question and see where it goes. But what I've also been doing is using the gene keys. So I don't know if anyone is familiar, any of my listeners are familiar with the gene keys, but it is a derivement of human design, but a much more, I think a good way to describe it is like gene keys is the feminine and human design would be the masculine. It's more about like taking these ideas, these concepts of moving from a shadow energy into a light energy, and you just contemplate on it. So what I've been doing is choosing a gene key that I feel called to that morning. I will read it and then just contemplate on it. I mean, like, so expansive. It has just been, I feel like it's a shortcut to talking to God. Like, it's just been mind-blowing. I'm so obsessed with it and so into it. I really am feeling called to do something with this. So I don't know. Don't be surprised if in a very short period of time I have an offer around this, but I feel like everyone in the world needs to try this. So I don't know. I'm kind of like stewing around some sort of like gene key contemplation group where we all contemplate on our own. Like we come together maybe like once every 2 weeks and share our contemplations. Like we pick a gene key for the week and like I don't know. We'll see. But I'm so excited about this, and it has done so much for me in these past 2 weeks. Okay, so recap. I added in a much stricter bedtime for myself. I've added in movement and nature, and movement can be a variety of things: walks, yoga, Pilates. Nature, just experiencing the nature in my backyard, walking outside. My husband loves to take walks, and so I have also given myself the challenge to actually accept his invitation. He loves to ask me, and I love to say no. I am starting to say yes more, and it's been really wonderful. And the final thing that I implemented for this 2-week challenge, rest challenge, was quiet. And that has been in the form of meditation, contemplation, and reading. All right, let's move into the results. Rest challenge results. These are huge. Okay, number 1. If you remember from the rest challenge episode 2 weeks ago, I shared that I had not been feeling well. I have been going through something with my body for about 3 weeks, maybe a month actually. And I am overjoyed to share that all of my symptoms have dissipated. Every single one. My body is feeling fully aligned. My energy is back. The brain fog is gone. Like I felt like my body was shutting down on me. I'm back fully. I feel connected and vibrant and healthy and wonderful. So all of my symptoms dissipated. That blows my mind. I'm really blown away. I'm not one of those people who is just so hairy-fairy that I'm just like, everything is about my spirit, though I do believe that there's a very strong mental and energetic component to illness. So I do believe that, but I'm also a believer in, Western medicine. So I had seen my doctor, and nobody was able to tell me what was going on with me. No one. All my tests came back fine. Apparently, like physically, it seemed like there was nothing wrong with me, but I felt everything was wrong with me, potentially TMI to everyone, but my period had also disappeared. So that is a pretty significant vital sign for a woman. Okay. So how many days into the rest challenge? I think it was less than a week in, it came back. So, it's just wild. All right. Wild, wild, wild. We can do a whole episode on that. So result number 1, my body seems to have re-regulated itself. And I have come to the conclusion that my body was trying to signal to me something that my spirit, my guides had most likely been trying to communicate to me for potentially months and months, and I was not listening. And so my body was the next step because it knew that it could get me to pay attention, and it did. So I truly believe that that was kind of like my spirit guides being like, listen, you need to slow down. This is not good for you. This is not achieving any of the things that we want. Like, we are going in the wrong direction. The GPS is telling me, turn around, make a U-turn, make a U-turn. And I'm just driving straight. So then my body was like, all right, I know how to get her attention. I feel very confident that that's what happened. And I'm really appreciative of it. And I'm really grateful for the fact that I decided to pay attention, that I decided to respond, because of course there, this, I could have not even listened to my body, but here we are, feeling fantastic again. Okay, that was result number 1. Result number 2. This is huge, guys. So I have an announcement to make. If anyone joined in on Friday Night Live Dive last week, Friday Night Live Dive, if you do not know, is the weekly live session that I host on my YouTube page. There is a link to it in the show notes. Every Friday, 6 p.m. EST, I go live and we dive deep into the topics of the podcast. And it's just a great way to join a community of inner work and personal growth, to step into the embodiment aspect of all of these concepts. And last week on Friday Night Live Dive, I announced probably my favorite result from this rest challenge is I have had an enormous awakening. I've had an enormous awakening with myself. And the coach in me has emerged. So I am officially stepping into coaching as my business, as my main endeavor. Inner work has been the love of my life for over a decade. And what I realized in this rest challenge, in taking the quiet time, in listening to myself, I was so plugged into other things and other people that I wasn't actually hearing my own inner voice. I'm a splenic projector, hearing my spleen. Give me the nudges, give me the signs, hear my guides telling me that enough is enough, and that I've actually been hiding. So this is about my anniversary. It's been about a year now that I've opened up my social media, I've opened up my Instagram, and actually come forward with the spiritual junkie that I am to the public, and sharing and stepping into entrepreneurship in something that I absolutely love and adore. But at the same time, I've also been hiding. And I've been hiding a little bit behind human design. I love human design. It is one of the many tools that I've used in inner work to turn my life around, to truly fall in love with myself and step into living so intentionally and feeling like my life is such a gift. It is a gift. And I have a purpose here, and I'm so all in for this adventure that is my life. But it's a tool that I've used amongst many. My actual passion is just inner work in general. It's all of it. And I've actually been muting myself somewhat, not giving myself full permission to show up as who I truly am, because of, I guess, fear, I guess, not feeling fully brave enough to not have a system in front of me, not just to have a system to present, but just fully who I am as me, as Christelle, as the guru in the making I've been since the day that I was born. So I'm fully emerged as Christelle. So I am excited to announce that I am officially taking one-on-one clients for coaching. If you are interested, look in the show notes. You can also find the link on my Instagram, which is also in the show notes, for a 20-minute clarity call where we can check in, discuss your goals, and move forward from there. But my coaching shingle is officially up. I am out of the closet and I'm fully stepping into what it is that I know that I'm here for. And one of the things that I talked about on Friday Night Live Dive was, and my mom was there, it was so beautiful. My mom and my sibling and I, for the past 9 years, my mom corrected me because I was like 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. The past 9 years, we have been having a weekly 3-way chat. My sibling lives in Los Angeles. I live in New York City. My mom lives in Toronto, Canada. Every week, we have a 3-way FaceTime call, and we share about different spiritual topics. Like, we just go in basically and like with a group coaching. The way that we have grown, and it just like, it blows my mind. I can still remember the day that I asked them to do this and how I was so into like self-help. That was like the section in the bookstore that you'd go to. I think it's more like personal development now. And they're like, oh my God, you with this again. And I just kept going at it with them, like, guys, listen to what I learned. And eventually they, I guess, got so annoyed with me that they said yes. And 9 years later, it is the greatest thing that we've ever done together. And I really just realized, like, this is my heart and my soul. And if I can bring this to the world, if I can do what we have done, the three of us, for the past 9 years with the world, I think I'm so fulfilled. Like, it's everything that I've ever wanted. And I realized that it's not enough for me on my own anymore. Like, I've done the for me part, not that that's ever complete, but the next step of my for me aspects, I went into doing my inner work for myself, for my own growth, for my own wanting to change, but the next level of it is actually for others. And this is the next step of my inner work, is being able to share and being able to facilitate change for others who are interested in the same thing. So the coach has emerged. She's here, and I have this rest challenge to thank for that giant awakening. Okay, the next result of the rest challenge. So literally, I've been reborn. Okay, 2 weeks, and I've been reborn as I feel like a new person. Wild. Result number 3. Quote, "You have such a lovely energy." That was my husband. My husband, multiple times in these past 2 weeks, has just looked at me smiling, and I'm like, what? And he goes, your energy is just so lovely. It's just so calm and sweet. Okay, I think I can die happy. What? Like, this alone is such a huge, huge, huge result, huge win. I don't think I realized how much not being in this core rested state, how important not just for how important it is for me and my own personal well-being, but how much it affects the people around me. And we all know that everyone, you are part of your environment, whatever environment that we're in. So I'm in the garden right now. I am now part of the garden. Like, I can't separate myself. So whatever we're bringing to every environment that we're in, we are changing, affecting the environment. I didn't even realize, because I thought I was like in a pretty decent place. It's not like I'm angry all the time, but I clearly had this charge, this buzz about me, a little bit of less presence. about me. And taking in this rest forward state, I have also connected more deeply with my husband. I have been able to contribute to the environments that I'm in a positive and beautiful way. And so I am so delighted that I can have that effect on him, you know? Yeah, that was a beautiful thing. It's really sweet, and I'm really happy about that. Okay. Rest challenge result number 4, I think. If you can believe it, I have been more productive. Doing less, more productive. I know this is wild, but the truth is I have been far more productive. And the reason is, okay, these are the things that I realized the reason is. 1, so this is number 4A. Prioritizing became easier, not harder. So what I realized in my rested state, in this calm state, in this aligned state, in this neutral state, connected to source, my guides, hearing my true inner self, you know, what I was able to hear is that some of the things that I thought I had to do, I actually didn't need to do at all. Okay. For example, some of the things or the amounts that I was posting on my Instagram, I realized I didn't need to do that. I had fallen into a posting because I should, rather than posting from an authentic place, an authentic desire to share something helpful. And my engagement on my Instagram has increased. What's hilarious is that I've never actually been a person this whole time having Instagram who like really checks the engagement. Like the likes don't seem so important to me, though I do want to access other people. Like I want to be able to build a community. Like the point of sharing is to build a community. So it matters, but it's not so much like I'm into likes and stuff that much, you know? But it is nice to know that what I'm sharing is helpful. Well, what I've noticed is that the best way for that to be done is to share from an energetic place of authenticity. And so I don't need to post anything, but I do want to. And being able to tell the difference has been huge. And that's come from this rested, more at peace, more connected with myself state. Okay. So prioritizing became easier, not harder. And secondly, so result 4B was that things that I have been putting off, things that I have been procrastinating, I naturally found time to get them done. The example of this is my wedding thank yous. Oh my God, I am literally embarrassed to say. I'm not even going to say, but I'm just going to say it's been a while since we got married and the thank yous hadn't gone out. And in this rested place, like one night I was just like, I'm going to do my thank yous. I was just laying in my energy on the couch. I had just journaled and I said, I'm just going to sit in my own energy. There's nothing else that I have to do. This is what I feel my spirit calling me to do. And I'm going to trust that. About 10 minutes into sitting there, I was like, it actually would feel so fun right now to do that. Why has that been so not fun for the past however many months that we've been putting this off? So procrastination actually happens more, I realize, when I feel like there is this forced to-do list of things that I need to do. And I have them there. They're set out as priorities. I'm obviously not able to get everything done because there's too many things on the list. And so when I look at this list of these things that I've decided that are priorities to do, I'm like, there's no space for that. There's no way that I can fit this in. I can't add that in there. There's no way that it's going to get done. But guess what? The list is bullshit. Because I can follow my energetics to get things done. There's a different time and a place and a space for different things to do. And turned out half of those things I didn't even need to do. So in this rested, calm, at peace place with myself, not only did that to-do list go out the window and I was able to prioritize beautifully, procrastination became not a thing. Because my energy was able to tell me the exact time that was the right time. So you're welcome, because that's huge. All right. So that was result number 4. What was it? More productive. Okay. Result number 5, which I guess I kind of touched on already. Hearing my guides, even down to telling me what to eat. Okay. Whoa. All right. So my inner being, my inner voice has always been the way that my intuition works. But I didn't realize how much I hadn't been hearing my intuition. And apparently she's loud and somewhat hyperverbal in a good way. So my intuition is constantly communicating with me. And in this kind of go, go, go pressured state that I had been in, I didn't hear it. I am now able to hear my guides down to telling me exactly what I need to eat right now. And as a I don't know if it's a sub result. I actually wrote it as a separate result. I think I'm going to keep it as that. But it ties into result number 6, which, what was that 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, number 6 was I'm less hungry. This is insane. So result number 5, hearing my guides even down to what I needed to eat. I was able to hear this kind of like nudge towards like, okay, you need fruit right now. You need protein. You need my cravings. I had been for the past few months, and I'm not really like a sweets person, had been like craving sugar. I wanted froyo like every day, cupcakes, just weird things out of that are not normal. Gluten. I'm gluten intolerant, and I was like eating gluten. Weird things that are not normal for me. And I hadn't even realized that it was just like a numbing. It was just like my body knowing that it was out of whack and looking for some temporary kick of energy, something, right? But because I wasn't in this connected place with my grounded place with myself, I wasn't able to hear what I actually needed. And so ever since this rest challenge, I'm able to literally hear what my body needs to eat. And what is interesting is that I, in consulting different professionals when I wasn't feeling well, they all gave me a food, like suggestions on food. So kind of like a guide on a healthy way for me to be eating right now. And I kid you not, the exact things. So one of the last things was I got an email from the naturopath that I'm working with back home, which is Toronto. The same day before I opened the email, I said to my husband, I need to stop eating cheese. And I'm lactose intolerant, by the way. So I don't even mean that I'm eating cheese and like having, being explosive. We find lactose-free cheese for me to eat. And I love cheese. And I've just been eating so much cheese. And I feel like I've kind of always known that just dairy, period, just for some reason, I don't know, like beyond the lactose, just like dairy kind of gunks me up. Like my body just doesn't function great on it. And I've been eating cheese like crazy. And I turned to my husband and I was like, yeah, I need to not be eating cheese. Like I don't want it. And then I opened the email and in there she says, stay away from dairy. And another professional that I had consulted said the same thing. So it was just these weird intuitive nudges towards what I should be eating. So the diet that I had already switched to turned out to be the exact same one intuitively. in this rest challenge turned out to be the exact same one that I was being suggested to move towards. So my intuition is wildly accurate and wildly powerful. And I can trust it and I can rely on it. I just need to listen to it. So one of the huge results that came out of that, okay? Result number 6, I said less hungry, less craving. So that kind of ties in. Guys, I actually don't need that much food, but I didn't realize that because I wasn't eating because I was hungry. I was eating to like numb out, to like feel energetic, to like just feel something that was missing in my body, you know, like an anxiety. So I think this could be big for a lot of people, but I literally am not that hungry and I'm not having all of those crazy cravings. All right, number 7, I am less defensive. Isn't that wild? Less defensive. Oh, I think this is the final one. Yeah, less defensive. So my husband is brilliant, okay? And sometimes he offers me advice on things. And his advice is often fantastic. But there's a part of me, and this is in my design, like I like to be told what to do, especially if I haven't asked for it, you know? It's like I'm a projector and we have to wait for the invitation. I also like for others to wait for the invitation from me. So I'm not always the most receptive in that way, but one of my areas that I've noticed in my inner work areas of growth is that I'm actually much better able to take in what people are saying to me, even if it's delivered harshly, like even if someone is like being mean or inappropriate with me. A part of me is able to be like, okay, I don't obviously like being spoken to that way, and I do have my boundaries about how people are going to treat me, but I'll actually reflect on what they had to say, and I'm like, beneath their poor delivery, is there something there for me? You know, is there something that I can evolve through? And sometimes there truly is. So that is something that I've been able to develop through my inner work. But, you know, when the person that you spend the most time with, that you live with, it is the easiest to be a pooty pants with that person. So sometimes I can be a pooty pants with my husband and be like, I don't want to hear that, you know? I haven't really experienced that much in these past 2 weeks, which is wild. And I'm literally able to take in his absolute brilliance and realize how bloody helpful he is and how insightful he is. So I really have benefited a lot. So it's not even just listening to my guides, my listening period has opened up. So the hearing what is good for me, connecting to what is helpful for me has opened up, period. And I know it's easy to say that, like, maybe, you know, I was tired and everything because I was not resting enough, right? The whole problem was I wasn't resting enough. But I really don't think that it was just like, this is not just about like I was irritable because I was tired. I truly don't think that that's what it is. What I think it is that there's less subconscious fear inside of me that I can be thrown off. So it goes back to when I was saying about realizing what my priorities are. When I had this like pressured running to-do list kind of in the back of my mind, or like this is like the amount of time that I have and I have all these things to do, and it's like pressure, like do this, like let's go, you know, you got these things to do. When I got rid of that, there was a fear that also dissipated. Because the thing is, when you have a packed to-do list and someone comes and says, like, you should do this, or have you considered this, or blah, 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 it's just like, okay, I don't have the space for anything else. Don't do that. Don't even make me think about something else. I'm barely holding it together. That was the subconscious energy going on. And so I think the reason I wasn't able to take more in was because I was like, I'm already struggling with what I've got. So with that mental space opened up, I was able to take in very good, unexpected advice, maybe even unsolicited advice from those around me because I had space. I had space inside of me, space for everything. I want to call it like energetic space for what is best for me in my life. So those are the 7 major results that I noticed from this rest challenge for the past 2 weeks. And I'm going to take a sip of water because I'm talking a lot. Okay. This is amazing, right? Okay. All right. So takeaways, the takeaway. Takeaway number 1. What I realized for me is an urgency to do something is usually a sign to pause. When I feel this urgent push and pressure inside of me that I need to get something done, I now realize that that's actually a time for me to pause. Because the thing is, inspired action is where I want to move from. And it is most likely that if something is coming to me with urgency, that it's coming from anxiety rather than motivation and inspiration. And I can only speak for myself. I'm sharing with you guys what my personal experience is. It might be similar for you, but I'm just telling you what I've noticed for myself. But in those moments, if I feel there's an urgency for me to do something, it's time for me to pause and to sit with my emotions. So sit with what's underneath that urgency. For me, it's usually anxiety. To appease that. So to soothe my nervous system. Connect again, ground. To ground my body, ground to my spirit, to my guides. And then take aligned action from there. And if I don't get the hit, the nudge to do the thing after that, it only solidifies more that I was right about it, So I am no longer operating or using that as a sign for me to get things done, because it is a sign that I'm moving in an energy that I don't want to do things in anyways. I don't want the results of my doing in urgency. That is not the same thing. And this takes me into takeaway number 2, which is that I finally truly deeply understand the concept of I get to over I have to. I have had a number of spiritual teachers. I think the first time that I ever heard this was from Abraham Hicks many years ago, and talking about a mindset shift. When you need to do something, right? When there's things that you have to do, just like adulting, like cleaning, doing the laundry, going to work. There are things that we have to do in life that as adults that we don't necessarily want to do. I mean, even as children, right? But we don't really necessarily feel like we want to. But from this place of groundedness in myself, connection to the deepest part of me and to all the power on the planet, my spirit side and my physical side, like my human and my spirit, when I'm feeling all of that connected, I actually understand the I get to. It's the same way that doing from that urgency place is so I have to. And it never feels good. It doesn't feel good physically and it doesn't feel good emotionally. It feels like there's something like a fire under my butt. It feels like I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to that's not how I want to operate. That's how I felt in high school. I hated that. I didn't there's a reason I didn't like homework and schoolwork. I'm an adult now. There's no teacher. There's no mom and dad telling me I have to do these things. So I'm just going to replace that for myself. No way. The whole point of freedom and autonomy as an adult is that I get to be in charge. So I'm not going to live my life from have to have to have to. Forget it. That's not the way that I want to feel about myself. And I swear that it's that have to energy that I'd been in and I didn't even realize it that had my body shut down. So I get to do these things in my life. Even if that is watering the garden, I get to water the garden to have these absolutely gorgeous hydrangeas here. Like I get to sit in this beautiful place. And watering it is a privilege, number one, to have the water to be able to do that, but to be able to enjoy it after, you know? I get to share the amazing concepts and knowledge and inspirations and downloads that have come to me through the work that I've done with myself. I get to do that. I, for fun, read these things, contemplate things, and then I'm going to act like sharing it on my social media is work. Like I'm doing this because I love it and I want to share it in that same essence. So I get to, you know? And the thing is, it is fun for me. It is actually fun for me creating the content. Where I used to put myself in pressure is like, I have to put it out like today or then or what. I want to deliver in the same energy that I created it. And so that I really see the benefit of it. I get to clean my apartment. I get to live in this space and enjoy the pristine appearance of it for my own spirit, out of love and respect for myself and my family, you know? Sorry. So yeah, that's a big one. I really understand that I get to over I have to. And I've heard a number of different spiritual teachers talk about this concept, but it's just a mind shift. It's just a mind shift. And it's really very difficult. I'm just going to put this out there. It is very difficult for someone to understand this I get to energy when you are in a pressured and urgent state. I don't think it's possible. It doesn't feel like a privilege from that energy. Your nervous system is already in fight or flight in that moment. So nothing feels like I get to. It feels like you better or you're going to die. So being in the rested state was like, it's the precursor. That was what was missing. All right. Takeaway number 3. My body is quite sensitive. And I now actually see that that's a good thing. So I've always known that my body is sensitive. You know, I'm allergic to things and I've always had like super sensitive skin. I remember in high school when everyone was using, I can't remember what it was called, but it was like these pads, like they were all over TV. There was these commercials for these like cleaning face pads. And so I was at a sleepover and she had like got it. This is like right like when you're hitting puberty, right? So everyone's like, acne care. I didn't even have acne. So like she's sharing out these like cool pads, right? That you see, not pads like period pads, like it's like they're cleaning. It's like oxy something. It's called oxy something that you clean your face with. Anyways, so of course joins in, cleans her face. The hugest rash breaks out all over my face. My mother freaked out. We had to go like the emergency room. Okay, so very sensitive skin. Just a sensitive apparatus. I do have that. And there are a lot of foods that I'm sensitive to and stuff like that. And there are times when I feel like annoyed by it or like, ugh, man, I would love to have a piece of regular cake. Strawberry shortcake is my favorite. Like, cream. Can I just enjoy some cream, please? These are some of the things that come with having a sensitive system, right? But on the other side of it, of not just some of the things that I that don't sit well with my body, I am so grateful for having a sensitive body, sensitive as in highly attuned as in it doesn't take much for me to realize I'm out of alignment. It doesn't take much. It will not be long before my body will kick in to letting me know if I haven't been listening to my spirit. And I'm highly grateful for it because this is life, and due to my conditioning, due to the society that I grew up in, sometimes, clearly, I can get into that pressured place and I'm not paying attention. I get stuck into a momentum. And it won't be too long till my body will kick me in the pants and be like, hello, we don't like this. I'm not having a good time. And then I have to be like, okay, I hear you. And my mic died. So here I am, coming back to this later. I'm going to try to fill in the gap that I missed. My apologies, everyone. There's a lovely strip of video with me talking, but you can't hear anything. So in those 5 minutes, I do believe that I have moved on to point number 4 of my takeaways. So we just completed that my body is quite sensitive, and I actually see that that's a good thing. And the final point, the final takeaway from the 2-week rest challenge, the big winner is everything is connected. Everything is connected. So I entered into this rest challenge because my body was physically calling for it. And what I noticed in that time of taking the rest is that spiritually, emotionally, my true self was also calling for something. And this is how I have emerged fully as into my next level, which is the coach. Emerging into what I truly want to do, what I truly want to be. That came because I took rest from my body. That was my intention. But the benefits have far surpassed that. So in me taking that space, I was able to connect to the part of myself that was also being stunted, that was also feeling held back. And then furthermore, we see how, so my physical health connected to myself, spiritually, emotionally, connecting to my relationship, the way that my husband is receiving me, the way that I'm able to energetically imprint upon a space, upon the environment has improved. So that improves my relationship, right? So all of these things are connected. Any area that we attempt to improve ourselves, that we intend to make change, that we intend to grow, has such a beautiful domino effect on every other area of our life. And we will jump right back into the video. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I was talking about how there are times when I realized that the thing that I wanted to focus on was my relationship. And in focusing on my relationship, it led me to so many kind of breakthroughs and insights, which only led to, encouraging my business, because I am in the business of personal growth. So my life is my business. Do you know what I mean? So there is everything is connected. And so you can definitely, your inner work, whatever area of your inner work that you're working on, believe me, it's helping everything. So let's say that you're focused on business right now, right? So you're growing your business. I promise you, in you delving into growing your business, you're improving your relationship. If your area of inner work right now is to work on relationships, if you're working on dating, I promise you, in working on your relationships and working on dating, you are building your personal empowerment. You are building your self-awareness. You are working on your boundaries. You are improving yourself in all these areas, which improves your relationships, which then will improve business and work and career. It's all connected. So you cannot get it wrong. You cannot get it wrong. Whatever area of inner work that you want to start with, or whatever is your focus right now, you never have to worry that you're taking away from another area of your life. They're all beautifully connected. When we improve ourselves, when we grow ourselves in one area, we're growing in everything, in every area. So I really noticed that. Excuse me. I really noticed that as my final takeaway. Everything is connected. So at the core of it for me, why there's no going back from this place of living truly in this grounded, rested state for myself, especially as a projector, especially anyone out there with inconsistent energy. So if you are a non-energy being, a projector, a manifester, a reflector, and this also goes for generators too, though, because it's really important for you to be focused on doing things that actually light you up, that give you joy. And if we go back to that result where I was able to truly prioritize from a rested state, that would be important for you as well. So taking a pause, being grounded, it has benefited every single area of my life. And so I truly see how this is the way that I want to operate. So my core go-to place for attunement, for alignment, is being in this state. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that this was fun. I think that was a long one, but I have a lot to say about it. This was amazing. So I encourage you all, if you didn't listen to the first episode, the Rest Challenge episode, go back and listen to that. I dare you, try it for yourself. Let me know what your different strategies were. So those were my strategies, but I'm so interested to know what other people's kinds of rests are. It's so cool. We're so different. It's so cool to hear all the different ways, that others feel deeply rested and connected and grounded to themselves. So I'd love to hear from you. Come join me on Friday Night Live Dive on my YouTube page, and let's talk about it. Let's share with each other, share ideas, talk about what didn't work, talk about what does work. This is how we grow. So I'd love to hear from you. And again, I'm announcing that I am officially opening up one-to-one coaching. So if you feel inspired to, if you are curious, if you feel inclined to work with me in a coaching capacity, please check in the show notes and book a 20-minute clarity call, and we will go from there. I am so excited about all of this. I am now going to lie here and enjoy the heat with my puppy. She's been behind me the whole time. And just take in this beautiful. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next